Welcome to Live in the D Plus, everyone. It is so good to be back with you. I am Tati Amara, and this is where we get to continue and expand on the conversations that we have on Live in the D every single day. You can catch me here every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. So let's get into today's show. So here at Local 4, we have brought back our Super Singer competition after an almost 10-year break. This is huge for us, and the competition is heating up in our Studio B, where callbacks are taking place right this second. Now you see there's no one on the stage because we have a little bit of a gap. I was in there today as one of the judges. As you guys know, I'm one of the producers of Music Monday, so I get to, go through a lot of musical acts. So I think I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit. So today we will select the final 4 that will perform at the Ford Fireworks on June 23rd, where all of you will vote for your favorite and the crown the next super singer, which I'm incredibly excited about. So we will talk to one of the singers who is back for a callback a little bit later on in the show. But first, I want to welcome to my first guest to the show. She's a life coach, an entrepreneur, an author who has built a platform around empowering women to heal, grow, and thrive. Now, Randi Rossario Maples is at it again with a new book, Sis, I Get It, a powerful collection of affirmations, insight, and encouragement for women navigating life's ups and downs. So whether you're on a healing journey or simply need a reminder that you're not alone, this book aims to speak to the soul. And Randi joins us now right here on Live in the D Plus to share the inspiration behind her latest work and how she hopes it will uplift readers everywhere. Randi, I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Listen, I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Listen, we've been trying to connect for a long time now.
I want to say 2 years.
It's been like 2 years. We've got back and forth. We're DM buddies for sure.
Yes, we're social media besties for sure.
We are. And so I'm really glad to have you here. I've been following your journey for a long time. So this is not Randi's first book. She has written a book previously about co-parenting, which I was fascinated behind. Didn't get a chance to interview her for that, but you will be having another book about co-parenting coming out?
Yes, I have a second Co-Parent Like a Boss book coming out in January 2026.
That's very exciting. She stays on that grind, people. But listen, a lot of people may know you from social media, which is where I first met you, and you have an incredibly strong following. And it's a place where you share a lot of common sense wisdom. So let's get to your newest book titled Sis, I Get It.
Yes. So thank you for that, by the way. I try to take real situations and make it more digestible for my folks.
Yes.
I consider myself the cool cousin to people.
Yep.
Because when you're around your cool cousin, they can talk to you in a way that a lot of other people can't, and you can receive messages from them in ways that other people can't talk to you and you can receive. You know? So I try to give you a regular everyday situation similar to co-parenting and break it down in a way that makes sense for you. For me personally, I didn't grow up in a situation that it was co-parenting. My mom and dad are still married. So,
which is a blessing.
A major blessing. Shout out to them. It'll be 43 years in August.
Amazing.
But what I did know is that when I became a bonus mother, I wanted it to be as close to the Brady Bunch as possible. And I know that sounds very unrealistic, but that was the only blended family that I knew and saw growing up. So I did go in with a romanticized viewpoint of, oh, this is going to be perfect. This is going to be great. And it wasn't. Right. It was difficult. And, through working through that and figuring things out and going through womanhood by having a baby. I had my first baby. When I had my first baby, I understood so much more about our kid's mom. You don't have a child with someone not to be with them usually. It's something that you usually have to grieve when you get over and you guys are breaking up, because this lifestyle that you thought you were going to have, you're grieving what you thought you were going to have.
Right.
So that book came about after I had my child, and I was literally we were in labor, and I always remember that it was a Thursday because Thursdays were the day we used to have to get the kids. And I had to text her like, hey girl, can't come this Thursday. I'm having the baby right now. And in that moment, I was just like, bro, I could not talk to anybody else in my life. Like, I could not talk to my cousins, to whomever, but this is someone that I have to deal with. This is family regardless of if I agree to it or not. So we have to figure this out. And that's how that book came about.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So I can't wait to learn about part 2.
Yes. Part two is more hiccups and ups and downs, because I think some people think because we have a book together that we're always on the same page and there's always rainbows and flowers, and it's not. We still have hiccups. We still have disconnects. We still have situations that we have to grow through, but we're growing through and getting through it for sure.
That's beautiful. So let's get to the new book.
Yes.
Tell us what inspired you to write it, and what does the title Sis, I Get It mean to you?
To me, sis, I get it really just means, hey, baby, you are not alone. Mm-hmm. Hey, you know, if it's an experience at work that's difficult, if it's an experience with friends that's difficult, you're not alone. If, you know, you're going through a bad breakup and you just feel like your world is ending, I've been there before. You're not alone in that. I had a really public breakup with the podcast that I used to be on, and it was devastating. It was extremely heartbreaking how I was treated, how I was just ostracized and lied on. And that's really what inspired this book. I said, Randi, are you going to sit with your trauma and be the victim, or are you going to use this to be a testimony? Are you going to use this to continue to thrive the way you've always used your trauma? So yeah, that's how it came about.
I love that, though. I mean, I think that a lot of times women are hesitant to share their experiences.
Absolutely.
Share what they went through, whether it's shame, whether it's, you know, hindsight is 20/20. So when you look back, you see all the red flags after the fact. So that causes its own shame. But you are incredibly vulnerable sharing your experiences. How do you hope that this will help the people who read your book and who follow you on social media?
You know, I'm vulnerable sharing my experiences because I remember back in 2011 when my first husband was killed by a drunk driver, I was alone. Like, when I tell you, I was 21 at that time. Wow. Most of my friends were sophomores and juniors in college. They couldn't digest or even seem to fathom what I was going through and experiencing. Like, this is something that most people experience later in adulthood. You know, 70 or 80, you lose somebody that you're looking to build your life with. So from there, I decided that what I experienced to some degrees can be lessons. And my friends always tell me that I'm probably going to end up being a pastor or a preacher or something like that, because I'm always trying to use something to make it a testimony. But I really just want people to understand, like, you're not alone. Like, you're not alone. It's, as alone as you may feel, as unimportant as you may feel, you're not alone. And I hope this collection of stories teaches you that. Like, in this past year alone, I've been through, I walked away from two positions, you know. I walked away from a record executive situation. I walked away from a podcast situation. I had numerous friendship breakups. I had a lot of those friends try to spread lies about me and hurt me and harm me. And, you know, instead of me sitting around sad and depressed about it, because I was sad about it, and don't get me wrong, like, it's feel those feelings.
You're
feel
human.
Those feelings. That's the only way to get through it. But I instead of just sitting in it and just, you know, letting that musty energy just take over my life, I was like, yo, we got to do something about this, because I'm not the only girl going through this.
Yeah, no, you're not. And I think that turning, you know, tragedy or difficulties into triumph is what it's really all about. But let me ask you this. I'm asking for a friend.
Absolutely.
That would be me. Because listen, sometimes we get tired of just going through stuff.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Do you remember, like, how every year at the beginning of the year or like close to the, you know, end of a year, there are all these memes on social media where it says, you know, have somebody on the phone, it'll be like me calling God to get off of his strongest soldiers list, because, like, I don't need another.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't need another test.
Absolutely. I mean? That's like, how I felt this year.
Yeah, okay. So
that's how I felt over the past year. Like, what is the lesson, God? I'm trying to get it, but you're breaking me so badly in this space. Like, who do I trust? Who can I turn to? Who can I lean in on? And what I learned was, and what I realized and had to just really stand on is, you lean on God, you trust your husband, and you build with your village, period. And that's what it really boiled down to. I realized that I was putting myself in places that I did not belong emotionally and spiritually. I was under attack. Yes, my spirit was under attack. I was surrounded by demons, of course, you know? So, and we're all fighting demons on some level or another, so I get it. But it was just like, you have to be conscious and aware enough to know when it's time to separate for something that's no longer feeding you.
Isn't that the truth? And I think that as women in particular, we tend to stay in a lot of different situations that we might need to exit from, because we just want to see it work. And because we've romanticized it.
Absolutely. We've already painted this picture of what it could be, who you could be to us, how we could show out for you, how we could show up for you and pour into you, be it work related, relationship, friendship, or whatever. We have to take those rose-colored glasses off and see stuff for exactly what it is, the reality of it.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. But let's talk about this. In a time where so many women feel overwhelmed, whether it's motherhood, whether it is career, whether it's so many of these things that we have to deal with. We live in a very complicated world right now.
We do.
Right? So what's a piece of advice that you yourself always come back to?
I stand on always doing something for yourself. And I know when I say that, I speak from a place of privilege because I have a village that helps me. I have a husband to lean on and things like that. But I don't care if it is 10 minutes a day. Get that 10 minutes to yourself. Whatever you need to do to get on your square and stay on your square as a mom, as a mother, as a woman, pour into yourself and be that. If that means waking up 30 minutes before everyone else so you can get some you time, if that means, going out into the car for 10 or 15 minutes by yourself and letting your kids just ruin the house, because they're going to ruin the house regardless, Like, just make sure you're showing up for you, because at the end of the day, as women, we show up for everybody else. We're constantly showing up for our men, for our children, for our friends, for our sisters. Make sure you're showing up for you, because at the end of the day, when that cup is empty, you cannot pour from it.
That's right. And that's one of the hardest things for women to do, because we're always giving and nurturing.
Constantly
and
nurturing.
Care.
Yep. It's hard. I know it's hard,
Yeah.
but you have to have, the best thing that I've learned for myself is having boundaries with not only other people, but me as well. If that looks like me saying to myself, hey, not your problem. You don't have a dog in that fight. Stay out of it. In situations where I usually would insert myself like, oh, I can help, get conflict resolutionist. No. It's not always your job.
Yeah.
If that looks like me saying, hey, my kids are driving me a little bonkers right now, I need 10 minutes, I'm going to the garage for 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
you just have to show up for yourself and don't feel bad for it. Like, I know the world has taught us to feel guilty for, wanting to be a little bit selfish, but honey, you are running an entire universe in that house.
Yeah. Its own
Take your
ecosystem,
time.
its
Yes.
own thing. And I think that I like that. For me, the takeaway is create boundaries even with yourself.
Yes, you have to.
Because it's easy to create boundaries with all kind of other people. That I got that down.
Oh yeah,
but you got to create.
It's
them with
easy to
yourself.
tell people, hey, I'm not going for
Yeah.
that. But like a boundary that I've recently created for myself is the boundary of having to stay consistent. I will wake up and work out and do my 4 miles a day. And if I don't do that, I feel off, because something I've told myself for the past 4 or 5 months is if I get my mind right and my spirit right, my physical can get right too. So if I stay in that routine, I'm going to do it. Do I always feel like doing it? I'm going to look you in your face and tell you I never feel like doing it. Do I get it done? Yes, I do.
That's discipline. That's discipline. So what's the main theme or inspiration that you want people to take away from your book? And what do you think men could learn from your book?
That's a great question. My main theme that I want people to take away from the book is the understanding that this is a trauma release, not a trauma bond. You may understand and you may feel some of the emotions that I felt or went through when it comes to these stories, because you've been there. It's going to open up some ugly wounds at times, because it did for myself, even writing the stories. But you need that. The only way for you to heal and genuinely get through it and not be triggered in every other situation is for you to understand what's triggering you and heal from it. Now, what do I think that men can take away from the book? I think that men can gain a better understanding as to why sometimes women have difficult relationships with one another. The ins and outs of the difficulties starting in childhood. I have a poem in my book that's dedicated to my mom and I called Doreen and Shanice. And it's not necessarily about me having a rough childhood, because I would never tell those stories. But my mom and I had to figure each other out a little bit. And that's my best friend in the world. But we had to figure out, because I'm very headstrong, I'm very vocal. And she's very much so a cute, quiet Aries. And it's absolutely adorable, but that's just not me. So we had to figure out how to communicate with each other.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I'm definitely an aggressive person, and my mom is like, calm down.
I'm always like, where did you get me from, bro? Because you're so nice.
I say that to her. I'm like, poor you, because I don't know how you ended up with me. But you've been really open about your own healing journey. How does that personal experience shape your writing? Because obviously you're sharing yourself, but how do you want it to shape everything else you do going forward with all your multiple platforms?
I always want people to understand that I don't tell my story to get sympathy or, to, whoa, she's been through so much. If I wanted to tell you guys those stories, I'll tell you all different kinds of things.
Yeah.
That's not what my point is. My point is just for all of us to understand that we all have something on our plate that we did not put on it. We all are dealing with something that we did not ask for. We are all going through something that it might be a situation that has absolutely nothing to do with us. Sometimes you find yourself having to help your parents, your sisters, your brothers, and whatever else. I just want people to understand you're not alone in it. You're not. And because I've felt alone. I've felt by myself. And I know how heavy that is to feel like it's genuinely you against the world. Like that. that's a devastating feeling. And for some people, they can't handle it at all. And I'm just here to remind you that you're not alone. I've been through it. And I feel like if I tell you my situation before somebody else does, you can't use it against me.
I love that. I love that. But I love how you said we find ourselves with things put on our plate that we did not put there, that we did not ask for.
Girl,
but you
how
still
do
have
these
to deal
greens
with
get on my
it.
plate? I did not put that serve in there.
Listen, and you have to deal with it.
You
That's
do.
That's life.
You
That's
do.
life. So how do you envision Sis, I Get It being used? Could you, of course, a daily practice for people who get the book,
Yes.
but maybe as a group discussion tool or something like that?
So far, a couple of my friends have actually started a book club with it, and I'm planning on doing a podcast themed around it. I think that over the past decade or so, we've seen a super outpour of women empowerment events, and I think that, with love, respectfully, a lot of those women empowerment events are led by people that are not genuinely trying to empower. This book is to empower. This book is to help heal. I'm not trying to keep someone in a broken space, and I think often those platforms and spaces are trying to keep people broken and not really caring about their healing. The Sis I Get It platform cares about your healing. I can't continue to be the Randi Rossario that I was when I was 29, 30, 31. I'll be 36 years old on Sunday, pardon me. I can't be that same person when it comes to the content that I was making back then and things like that. But I can have these conversations, or I can be a safe space and create a safe space for these conversations so we can genuinely talk and heal.
Okay, I love it. So how can people get the book?
You can get the book all month long exclusively on Amazon. Just type in Randi Rossario or Sis I Get It, and all of my other books will pop up as well.
There you go. And this is perfect for May being Mental Health Awareness
Exactly,
Month.
exactly.
So this is a time to tap in, check in with yourself. This can be one of the tools in your toolbox. Randi, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
I really appreciate you being here.
I really
do.
appreciate this energy and exchange.
Absolutely.
Seriously,
We've been trying to do this for a long time. We really have. We will be right back with more Live in the D+, including our special coverage of the Super Singer callback competition, and auditions, rather, I should say, happening in Studio B. We will be right back. Welcome back to Live in the D+, everyone. A big thanks to Randi Rossario Maples for being with us and sharing her new book with us, Sis I Get It. It was a great conversation. I hope you had a chance to catch it. Now we're joined by a Super Singer contestant. This local talent has been invited back for a callback, and this is bringing her one step closer to stardom. Joining us now is Gina Newhouse, right? I got that right? To share her inspirational journey. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. So I was in there when she did her callback audition. It was very exciting. I'm excited for every single person who was walking in there. I'm one of the judges who are sitting on the panel. And I just see people coming in and bringing their whole heart and their soul to this situation. So what went through your mind when you found out that you were invited for a callback?
Oh, I was so excited and happy. And it's very special to me because I've been living here in the Detroit area since 2022.
Okay.
And my heart and soul is here in Detroit now. I love Detroit, so it's even more exciting for me.
Yeah, it's the kind of place you just fall in love with.
Yes.
Yeah, it really is. So tell everyone a little bit about your background. Now, she shared this during her callback. You were actually part of a group in Germany that was signed to a record deal. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So when I was 14, I got signed to a record label, Edel Records in Germany. And it was a group called the Lollipops. And we were singing for children. And we were singing like traditional children's songs, but they were made more modern, more poppy, and we had like our colorful clothes on, and it was a fun time. It was a great time, and I did 4 albums with that group. Yes.
Now you're here in the States.
Yes.
You found yourself living in Detroit with your husband.
Yes.
And now you want to get back into singing.
Exactly, yeah, because I've always been singing since then too, but lately I was more into voiceover, so I do voiceover in different languages, in German, English, Spanish, and Filipino.
Okay.
And I miss singing on stage because right now I'm basically talking to myself all day long on the microphone.
Yeah.
It gets pretty lonely.
Yeah, you want to do something different. You want to spice it up, mix it up. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how did you prepare prepare for your original audition? And how did you prepare for your next round? So for those who are not familiar, everyone had to submit a video of yourself singing a song a cappella, correct?
Exactly.
So how did you prepare for that? How did you prepare for your callback in this next round?
I did not have that much time to prepare because actually how I knew about the competition was from our dear friend and neighbor, Cindy. She did send us a screenshot of the competition. I was like, I have not much time left. So I got into my booth and recorded I made like a medley.
A medley is good. You're going to get all of me in this medley.
A small
yes.
medley, trying to squeeze everything in to make that. And then I received the call to come back to audition. And I was like so excited, so happy. So the past couple of days, I was just practicing lyrics, especially. That's my weakness, the lyrics.
You got it. It's okay. Everyone is working on that. So you came in, you did your audition. What was the most memorable feedback you feel like you've gotten from the judges so far?
Well, I really loved the whole situation, like the kindness. It's a very nice environment. And I liked it that I was able to sing another song.
Yes, you did sing 2 songs.
Yes,
right?
I sang 2 songs.
Yeah, that's good. So who or what really inspires your musical style, would you say?
So many.
Yeah.
I couldn't pick one.
Give me your top 3, if you can't even do that.
From when I was a kid. Let's start when I was a small kid. Of course, Mariah Carey.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah. Mariah and Mariah.
Okay. Hey, a lot of people would agree with that.
Also Celine Dion.
I love Celine Dion.
Yes.
I love Celine Dion.
Whitney
Her voice
Houston.
is remarkable. Yeah,
I love
Whitney.
Jennifer Hudson.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Kelly Clarkson.
You like those powerhouse
Yes.
kind of voices.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. So, Gina, I have to ask you this. What would it mean to you to win Super Singer?
It would be so special.
Yeah.
Because despite of whatever I have done in the past or worked on, I think the excitement never ends. And it's always special to sing on stage, to be in a competition, especially because it's in Detroit.
Yeah,
The new home, there's so much talent, history, music, culture, and love, I have to say, in Detroit.
Yeah.
The kindest people. Detroit welcomed me with so much warmth. So it would mean everything
Yeah.
right now. It's
That's great
so
to hear.
special.
That's great to hear. Well, let's take a quick peek back into Studio B, where the callback auditions are still taking place live right now. It's okay, she just wrapped. That's okay. I just got that from my producer, Natalie. Shout out to our producer, Natalie. But that was someone who was on stage just like you were not too long ago.
Couple minutes ago.
So it is an exciting and exhilarating feeling. And that was just from me as sitting there as one of the judges. I'm excited for everyone there. So what's next for your music career? Because you're doing your voiceovers, you've done this. Do you want to continue to pursue your career as a vocalist?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yes. And I would never stop. It's just singing is something I've started from such an early age. I was so small, and it should always be there. See, we all have to sing. We all should be singing and be happy.
I sing, it's just not that good. But I still do it.
That's the thing. We
Yeah.
all have to be happy and be singing around.
Yeah, it brings
We need
everyone
that.
joy. No, this is awesome, Gina. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you
to
for
the
having
callback
me.
edition. Thank you for hanging out with us on Live in the D Plus and sharing your journey. It takes a lot. It really does, and I admire it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All right, everyone. The Super Singer callbacks will be taking place until 6 p.m. tonight, and the final 4 will be at the Ford Fireworks on June 23rd. And they will show down there and wait for Detroit to vote and crown the next Super Singer. It's all incredibly exciting. I need to get back to the auditions, but I want to thank you all so much for joining me for Live in the D+. Thank you, Gina. Thank you, Randi Rossario Maples, who was with us a little bit earlier sharing about her book. I will see you back here on Thursday. Have a great day, everyone.